Welcome back, everybody, to another deep dive. You know we love to dig into those books that really give you an edge. And this one,
This one's a game changer.
yeah,
For sure.
it's called How to Make It Big in Financial Services
22 Keys to Sales Success.
by James M. Benson and Paul Karasik. And
These guys know their stuff.
I really
No, I
definitely
was so excited to crack this one open, and I know you were too. So what really jumped out at you as we were kind of prepping for this deep dive? What were those?
The thing that really hit me right off the bat is how the book just cuts right to the chase. You know, it kind of throws out that old school product-focused selling and says, hey, if you want to really win in this game, you got to focus on building real connections with your clients.
Yeah.
That's the foundation.
That's what it's
long-term success.
Why it's all about. And why is that so important now? I mean,
Yeah.
things have changed so much in the financial services world. Like, why is that trust-building approach so crucial in today's landscape? Well, think about it. It's a whole different ball game out there than it used to be, right? You've got so many financial products. They're all pretty similar. So you can't just rely on, like, the features and benefits to make you stand out. Clients these days, they've got access to so much information.
Dude.
They're doing their research. They're looking for an advisor who actually gets them, not just someone trying to make a quick sale.
Right. So how do we make that leap then from just having like a one-time customer to really building these deeper client relationships? I mean, I think that's something a lot of folks in this industry are really grappling with. What's that secret sauce?
Well, the book really emphasizes the difference between a customer and a client, right? A customer might just buy something once and that's it. But a client, that's someone you're building a long-term thing with.
Yeah. It's like
a real relationship. It benefits both of you.
It's a partnership. Exactly.
That's a partnership, exactly, not a transaction.
There's so many financial advisors out there. I mean, how do you make yourself stand out? How do you become that go-to person that people think of when they're looking for advice?
This is where the book's advice on crafting a killer mission statement comes in. It's all about being crystal clear on what makes you unique, what value you bring that no one else does.
Yeah.
It's like your superpower.
So it's less about selling the products themselves, but more about selling your expertise.
Exactly.
And that value that you offer.
You're the guide.
But how do you actually find those clients who are looking for exactly what you offer? How do you connect with them in a way that's meaningful?
Well, one thing the authors talk about is going long and deep. They say to pick a niche market and really become a part of it, join industry associations, write articles, speak at events, put yourself out there.
Become that expert.
Become the expert.
Yeah. But you also have to be passionate about what you're offering.
Oh,
right?
Absolutely.
Like you can't just fake that enthusiasm.
You can't fake it. The authors are adamant about that. You have to genuinely believe in what you're presenting to your clients.
Yeah.
Because when you're passionate about it, it comes through. It's contagious, And people can tell if you're not being authentic.
And I think a lot of times, especially when it comes to finances, people make decisions based on emotion.
Right.
And then
they justify it with logic later.
Justify it with logic, yeah.
Yeah. But that gut feeling is what drives them.
Now, sometimes you need to know when to walk away.
Right.
Even if it's really tempting to chase every single lead.
Yeah.
How do you know when to kind of cut your losses and move on?
That's a tough one, but the book is really clear on this. You have to qualify your prospects. Ask yourself, do they genuinely need what I'm offering?
Yeah.
Are they actually in a position to make a decision? If the answer is no to either of those, you might be better off focusing your energy elsewhere.
So it's about making sure that you're spending your time, energy on those clients who are really
ready
to take action for what you have to offer.
Exactly.
That's smart. So let's say you've built that relationship, you found the right client, you're ready to present a proposal. What are some tips to make that proposal resonate and make it easier for the client to actually say yes?
I love this part of the book. They talk about starting with what they call easy yes questions. These are those questions that are almost impossible to disagree with,
Yeah. Give us some examples.
Like, do you want to retire comfortably? Or do you want to protect your family's future? Who's going to say no to that?
Right.
So you get them nodding along from the start, and that builds a positive momentum for the rest of the conversation.
It just frames things in a way that resonates with their goals and aspirations. Right?
Exactly.
But when it comes down to the nitty-gritty, a financial proposal can get pretty complicated.
Oh, yeah.
How do you present all that information in a way that's easy to digest?
This is where their 6-point proposal system is genius. It's like a framework for breaking down all that complexity into manageable chunks. You basically lay out the why, the what, the how much, the alternatives, and the when.
It's like a roadmap, right?
Exactly. It makes it so much easier for the client to see the big picture without getting lost in the weeds.
I love that. It's all about making things clear, concise, and easy to understand.
That's the key to getting them on board.
Okay, so we've talked about building those relationships, finding the right clients, presenting a killer proposal. But what happens after they say yes? How do you make sure they stick around for the long haul? How do you cultivate that loyalty that really makes a difference in your business?
That's where the real magic happens. It's not just about closing the deal. It's about nurturing that relationship so it continues to grow and flourish. And the authors have some amazing insights on how to do just that.
I can't wait to hear more. This is just the tip of the iceberg.
We're just getting started.
Buckle up, everybody, because we're diving deeper into the world of how to make it big in financial services. We'll be right back after a quick break.
Stay tuned. You know, it's funny. We spend so much time trying to get new clients, but this book actually spends a lot of time talking about the gold mine we already have,
Right.
our existing clients.
I know. We get so focused on those new leads, and we kind of forget about all those awesome relationships we've already built.
Yeah.
So how do we tap into that? How do we make sure we're not missing opportunities with our current clients?
I think one of the biggest takeaways from the book is that you have to stay engaged. You can't just assume everything's fine because a client has been with you for a while, right?
Right.
You got to regularly evaluate their needs, check in with them, see if there are new ways you can support them.
Yeah.
The goal is to have like 80% of your sales coming from those existing relationships.
That's incredible.
It's all about deepening those connections over time.
That makes so much sense.
Mm.
When you have that foundation of trust, it's so much easier to explore new possibilities together, right?
Absolutely.
But how do you actually have those conversations?
Right.
How do you make sure you're really understanding their needs and not just trying to push products that they don't need?
Communication is key here, right?
Yeah.
And the book breaks it down into 3 core skills: questioning, listening, and presenting.
Okay.
And it sounds simple enough, but it's about being intentional with each step.
And that 80-20 rule.
Oh, yeah.
Does that apply here too?
Big time. Let the client do the talking. You know, let them share their concerns, their goals, their dreams, all of it.
So you're really being a guide,
A guide.
not a salesperson.
Not a salesperson, yeah.
Yeah.
It's about active listening, responding to their needs, not just like reading from a script, right?
Right.
But let's be honest. Sometimes clients have objections.
Of course.
Sometimes they're hesitant, you know.
Right.
How do you handle those situations?
It's funny because a lot of people see objections as a roadblock.
Yeah.
But this book encourages you to see them as opportunities.
Mm.
It's a chance to really dig into their concerns and address them head on.
So instead of avoiding those tough conversations, you're actually like leaning into them.
You're leaning in.
Yeah.
Because when you acknowledge and address those concerns directly, it shows you're really invested in finding the best solution for them, right?
Right.
A lot of times those objections come from a place of fear, you know?
Yeah.
Fear of change, fear of making the wrong decision.
Scary.
It is scary. And so your job is to provide the information and the reassurance that they need to move forward with confidence.
So you're that calming presence, that steady hand in this world that can sometimes feel pretty chaotic.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've talked about building relationships. We've talked about deepening those connections. We've
Okay.
talked about handling those tricky objections. But what about the closing part?
Right.
Like, doesn't that feel kind of outdated
I know.
when you're focusing so much on these genuine relationships? You know, the book does a great job of reframing the whole closing mindset. It's not about high pressure tactics or trying to force a sale or anything like that.
Right.
It's about recognizing that when you've built that trust and you genuinely understand your client's needs, closing becomes a natural next step.
So it's less about closing the sale and more about opening the relationship.
I love that. It's perfect.
But this all takes energy and focus, right?
It does.
This industry, I mean, it can be demanding.
Well,
How do you stay motivated?
it's true.
And how do you avoid burning out when you're constantly, trying to build relationships and stay on top of everything?
You know, the authors dedicate a whole section to self-management. They encourage you to think of yourself as your own coach, motivator, and manager. Track your progress, celebrate your wins, but also, and this is huge, give yourself permission to rest and recharge.
So it's about finding that balance
It is.
between pushing yourself and also taking care of yourself.
Absolutely. You're your most valuable asset, right? So you have to treat yourself that way. And part of that is being smart about how you generate new business.
Okay.
The book really emphasizes the power of referrals. They say it's the most effective way to attract new clients, and I think they're onto something.
Because a referral comes with that built-in trust, right?
Right. It's like someone's already vouching for you before you even walk in the door.
So it's not just about asking for referrals in general.
No.
It's about encouraging those personal introductions,
Yes.
those warm handoffs that really make a difference.
Those are the ones they call them hot referrals.
Love it.
And remember, those referrals don't just magically appear, right?
Right.
They're a result of providing exceptional service and building those genuine relationships we've been talking about.
It all comes back to that, doesn't it?
It always does.
That foundation of trust and connection.
Exactly.
But, I was surprised to see that amidst all this talk about, practical strategies and techniques,
Yeah.
the book also gets into something a little bit more personal. Vision and values.
Yeah.
Why is that important in a book about financial services sales?
That's what makes this book so special. It recognizes that success isn't just about the numbers.
Right.
It's about finding alignment between your work and what truly matters to you.
So it's making sure that you're not just successful, but that you're successful in a way that feels really authentic.
Exactly. When your actions are aligned with your values, work becomes less about chasing a paycheck and more about pursuing a purpose.
I love that. And speaking of aligning actions, we can't forget about the practical side of things. There's a whole section in the book about using scripts.
Yeah.
But doesn't that seem kind of robotic?
I know.
When we're talking about all these genuine connections.
It's a good point. And the book addresses this directly. They're very clear that scripts are tools, not straitjackets.
Okay.
They're there to provide a framework to make sure you cover all the key points,
Yeah.
but they should never sound canned or impersonal. Think of them more like guidelines than rigid rules.
So it's about finding that sweet spot between structure and flexibility.
Exactly. Use them to stay organized, make sure you're hitting all the important points, but always adapt them to fit the specific client and the situation.
And then there's that chapter title that just jumped out at me. Make them love you.
Oh, yeah.
That's a bold statement.
It is.
How do you actually make clients love you, especially in the world of finances?
It's about going above and beyond, It's about exceeding expectations and doing those little things that show you truly care.
Give us an example.
Like sending a handwritten thank you note or remembering their birthday. Or just checking in to see how you're doing, even if it's not directly related to business.
It's those little touches that make people feel seen.
Exactly. They make people feel valued and appreciated.
Like a person, not just a transaction.
Exactly. And that's what creates those loyal clients who not only stick around, but they tell their friends about you too.
Because they genuinely enjoy working with you.
Exactly.
I mean, this has been an incredible journey through these 22 keys.
It really has.
We've covered so much ground, but I feel like we've just scratched the surface.
I know. There's so much depth to this book.
It's so clear that thriving in this industry requires this unique blend of, traditional sales skills, but also that genuine commitment to building meaningful relationships.
I completely agree. And what's really exciting is that this approach isn't limited to financial services.
That's true.
I mean, these principles, building trust, mastering communication, providing value, taking control of the process, these apply to just about any field where human connection matters.
You're absolutely right. It's about shifting from that transactional mindset to a relational one.
Exactly.
So, as we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave you, our listener, with a question.
Okay.
What resonated most with you today?
Yeah, what are you going to take back with you into your own interactions?
Think about that one key that really stood out to you and how you could start applying it right away.
Because in the end, success in sales isn't just about closing deals, it's about opening relationships.
That's it.
It's about becoming that trusted advisor, that go-to person that clients genuinely enjoy working with.
Someone they feel really gets them.
Exactly. And someone who has their best interests at heart.
Beautifully said. Until next time, happy diving.
Okay, so we're back, and we're ready to uncover this final key to success in financial services sales. We've talked about building those strong relationships, mastering communication, even taking care of ourselves so we don't burn out. But what's this last piece of the puzzle?
Well, the authors call it taking control of the sale.
Taking control.
Yeah.
I mean, that sounds a little, I don't know, a little old school maybe, especially after everything we've been talking about with these genuine relationships. How do you balance that?
That's a great question. And it's not about being pushy or manipulative or
Right.
anything like that. It's about recognizing that you have expertise.
That your clients need. You're there to guide them through this process that can be so complex and confusing.
Oh,
Think of yourself like the captain of a ship, right?
okay.
You know the waters, you understand the currents, and you're there to steer your clients towards their destination.
So it's less about dominating the conversation and more about providing confident direction.
Exactly.
But how do you do that without, I don't know, without sounding too salesy?
It's all about balance, right? You're not dictating terms, you're facilitating a decision.
Right.
People often hesitate to make big financial decisions. They're afraid of making a mistake, of losing control. Your role is to provide the clarity and the information and the reassurance they need to feel comfortable moving forward.
So you're addressing their fears head on,
Yeah,
and you're providing that steady hand throughout the process.
exactly. You're helping them see that you're not just trying to sell them something, but that you're guiding them towards a solution that truly aligns with their needs and goals.
And when you can strike that balance, that's when the magic happens.
That's when it all comes together. The closing part of the sale, it just becomes this natural next step.
It's a win-win for everybody.
Exactly.
This has been incredible. We've explored all 22 keys to success in financial services sales. But I feel like we've only just scratched the surface.
I know there's so much to unpack here.
It's clear that to really thrive in this industry, you need that blend of traditional sales skills with that genuine commitment to building those relationships.
And the best part, these principles, they apply to so many different areas of life.
That's true.
Building trust, mastering communication, providing value, taking control of the process. These are valuable skills no matter what you do.
Absolutely. So as we wrap up this deep dive, I want to ask you, our listener, a question. What resonated most with you today? Which one of these keys will you take back with you into your own work and your own life? Think about it, because in the end, success isn't just about closing deals. It's about opening relationships, becoming that trusted advisor, that go-to person that people genuinely love working with, someone they feel really understands them as their best interests at heart. Until next time, happy diving.